Okay, so today we're looking at, this is Math 7. This is notes for Lesson 7 in Unit 3, 3-7. This is harder distribution and real number properties in action. So those real number properties that we looked at in our last lesson, 3-6, which was that, distributive, commutative, associative, additive inverses, all those operations. We're now going to be looking at those in action, basically. And this is a really important thing to make sure you've got a good handle on because it does show up in algebra. My algebra kids are doing stuff similar to this right now. So when you're looking at these real number properties in action here, what you're doing is you're looking for what changed in each line. So, for example here, for this first one, the directions tell us to identify the real number property used in each step. So that's that associative, like we just talked about, that associative, that commutative, distributive, etc. from 3-6. So we can see they have an expression here, and they're simplifying the expression for us and asking us to look at what property was used in each step. You guys have been using these properties without knowing it for the past couple of years. So the way we're going to do these problems is we're going to compare the line above to the line below. So you can see here they have original expression written for the first line because that was clearly the original expression that they started with. So from looking from the first line to the second line where I drew my orange arrow, what's different? What is different about the first line compared to the second line? Well, you could see here that the parentheses are gone. The parentheses are gone. So which one of those properties had to deal with parentheses being gone, or just parentheses in general? So coming back here, I'm looking through and I'm seeing that the distributive property has some parentheses going on there, and also the associative property. So the associative property, if I'm looking at these examples, the associative property just moves the parentheses. It doesn't do anything else. Whereas the distributive property, I take that piece on the outside and multiply it. So if I come back here, did I move those parentheses, or did I take that number on the outside and multiply it? And it just so happens I did do that. I distributed that negative or that positive 3 to both pieces. So this is the distributive property in action. The distributive property. Okay, so now let's look. We have another blank there, so that's something for me to fill in. So from the line I was just on to the third line, what is changing? What is different? So I can see in this first line, in the second line, they have 5y minus 6 plus 3y minus 6. And then in my third line, that's now all mixed up. It's 5y plus 3y. So they kind of changed the placements of the negative 6 and the 3y. Well, which one of those properties has to deal with changing the order, changing where my numbers are? And that would be that commutative property, changes the order. So by them switching the order of the 3y and the negative 6, that leads us to conclude that this is the commutative property. Boom. And there you go. So you're going to be looking at some problems on your homework around those practice problems that are just like that. And just, like I said, look from one step to the next and you'll be okay.